you've got Yasuke here, and this is so gay.
You'll never escape the nightmare of your own design, unfortunately. The self-inflicted nightmare. I don't want to see gay. I don't want to see it. I hate it. I hate gay so much. Let's all watch a gay scene together. We have gay video games. It's a great time, 2025. We have all kinds of things. We have gay penguins, gay video games. One day we may even have a gay prime minister. Anything is possible. You never know. You never know what'll happen. Speaking of gamers, they're quite upset right now. If you didn't know, a recent poll by YouGov America that came out today, the Economist YouGov poll shows the net favorability of Donald Trump at the start of his second term, and now amongst U.S. adult citizens by age. The largest single drop is amongst 18 to 29-year-olds. Gen Z, the core gamer contingent, is really pissed off. You shouldn't have fucked with Switch 2. You just went and you did it. You applied all these tariffs, and you didn't even think about where these things are manufactured. You didn't think where Foxconn is. Huh? Come on. Where's Foxconn? Where's this stuff made? What happens if you impose 125% tariff on China? And then all of a sudden the 18 to 29 demographic went from +5 to -29. The millennials, myself included, went from -6 to -14. Good job. Good job, fam. Gen X, Trump's strongest soldiers, went from +12 to +1. Still an 11-point drop. And the boomers went from -4 to -8. I think it's safe to finally say the boomers are all right. They're done with fucking up the world. They want to take a step back and be like, oh, we're sorry. We're sorry. We shouldn't have done that. But apparently this game is gay.
Turns to crap, and Assassin's Creed Shadows is no exception to this, as right now it's getting a lot of negative feedback from gamers alike and from Japan, of course, because they are extremely disrespected with what's going on with Assassin's Creed Shadows, which goes so much far beyond the gay stuff. But I just want to highlight the gay stuff because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing this infesting.
Because you're a homophobe? Otherwise, why would you talk about it? Just so you know, for anyone who doesn't play video games, you get to choose. It's cool. Power to the player. You get to decide, hey, I'm going to be playing an adventure. I might even play as something that I'm not. That's kind of the fun of roleplay and fantasy. That's why we watch fantasy movies and science fiction films, because like I love horror movies. I don't ever want to be in a horror movie. Sometimes when I feel I'm in a horror movie, I'm like, this sucks. So no, I don't want to experience that in real life, but I do want to enjoy having an adventure. Perhaps I want to play as a black samurai. Yatsuke. That sounds fun, you know? I'll never be a black samurai in feudal Japan. That's true. But I can have a simulation where I get to play as one. That sounds amusing. And hey, you could choose if you want to be gay. You can play the game and be gay. You can play the game and be straight. You get to choose. So what are you going to be? So you could actually play the game and not get pissed off at all. You don't have to see the dreaded homosexuality. It's just there. Gay is not when sword game. Gay is when not in game. Why is gay in game? This is a normal take as an adult to have. Well, we'll see. You know, maybe Melonie Mac here as a very poignant and deeply thought out take.
The gaming industry at large. This is what happens when you hire a bunch of queer activists instead of actual gamers, and they have ruined gaming. I don't like it when games have gay crap in it. I don't like it when games have porn in it. Don't like it when games have sex scenes and stuff in it in general.
Have you thought of not playing that particular game? I can recommend you many games that don't have any of those things. But a lot of games don't. Like, just trying to enjoy my feudal Japan assassin simulator game. And then all of a sudden, in the game, there was a murder. I don't want to stab someone. Why the fuck did I have to sneak up behind somebody and stab them in the middle of the night with a blade and they died before my eyes? I don't want to see that. Ooh, well, I mean, there's games where you don't have to do that. You can play a different game. Again, that's one of the beautiful things about having options and choices.
It's stupid. I like video games that are actually video games, and I used to play a ton of Assassin's Creed. I have played multiple Assassin's Creed games and loved them, starting with the first Assassin's Creed game. But I just have no interest in this right now. Things have gotten incredibly gay with the franchise. I have never in the history of my life with Assassin's Creed actually pursued a romantic thing. Like, why is that a thing? That's not fun to me. It's like, isn't this supposed to be a...
I've Googled this person. I doubt she'll have a normal take. I don't know if you knew this, but she used to be much happier before she was a homophobe. She actually, there's old video clips of her where, you know, she just used to be, I think it was G4. She worked for G4 Television or Spike, or one of the, like, the first big gaming channels where she was, like, one of the correspondents on it. And she seems so happy. Because, again, not all of it was just centered around hatred. Consistently being like, whoa, which minority group do we get to vilify today? I hate seeing gays. I hate it. I hate all the gay in games. They're ruining it because they hired the gays to make the games.
Video game? Like, who has hijacked the gaming space? Because that's not gaming to me. It's where it's just this is supposed to be Assassin's Creed. It's like, at most, I had Cassandra in Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
So I don't know if y'all knew this because it's so weird they're still making videos about this, but Assassin's Creed, the new one that just came out, it's the second best launch in the series' entire history, only behind Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was released during the holidays and at the height of the pandemic. But we figured it's worth noting that the feudal affair appears to be Ubisoft's best ever day one PS Store performance for any game that massive ass company has released. Assassin's Creed Shadows is breaking series records. Broke a massive record on Steam. It's been for over 6 years. The new record is a good sign for fans who want to see Assassin's Creed Shadows to be a big success. It breaks the series record on Steam. All-time high peak player count. Despite the controversy, the game received positive reviews. It received 63,000. It had 2 million sales, the fastest selling of the titles within the first 2 games. The first 2 days. Like...
flirt with a guy she was talking to. I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Let me pick that flirty option. That was it. I was like, I've got stuff to do, man. I've got battles. I've got these like Egyptian gods to fight or Greek gods to fight. Like, I don't want to do any of this stupid crap. But so anyway.
Wait, sorry, was she talking about God of War? You don't have to do the sex in God of War if you don't want to. I mean, granted, it'll get you some of that power-up shit, but like you could also just skip the sex scenes. It's very clear when you walk into the hot tub area that there's about to be a sex scene, and so like you could just not do that. You could just be like, they're making me.
Let's talk about what Assassin's Creed Shadows is doing.
Oh, Odyssey, sorry.
So right now we have some bullet points here. So this is what actually is Yasuke's history, the actual dude, right? He was a slave. So he fought one battle and lost, right? His legacy is being a humiliation, but
I also love how this made so many chuds suddenly want to become experts in feudal Japan and Japanese history. Look, according to this account, Achi's Hattori Ban, it says, be slave, fight one battle and lose, legacy humiliation, fast forward to today, depicted sleeping with the daughter of the guy you were serving, depicted as a savior of Japan.
Fast forward to today, and they depict him sleeping with the daughter of the guy he was serving.
She was banned from Twitch 7 times for dropping the F slur. Wow. And then just kept doing it. Damn. It's a lot of hate in your heart. To obviously, like, it's not as if you were just being like, I can't be on Twitch because it's degenerate and gay, and I hate gay things, and there's too many gays on the platform. It was, well, I went on there, I dropped the F slur, and they kicked me off. But I'm back, so haha. Take that, you F slurs. Fuck. Okay. Well, I banned again, but, you know, 3rd time's the charm. Definitely not going to say the F slur again. Fuck. All right. Number 4. We got this.
So I don't know. Like, I think they just kind of are trying to make him like, they're trying to make for the Japanese people where they're getting cucked by this guy essentially, and it's really odd. And it's
no, see, what you're doing right now, I think, is describing a lot of the right-wingers' strange, like, fetishes in relation to how they see black people, because just the presence of a black person in a video game does not inherently mean they want to cuck Japanese men. What are you saying out loud right now? This was a historical figure that they wanted to center in this video game that all of you made into a huge big deal. Like, all of you fucking, oh my god, and apparently he wasn't even a samurai. All right, let's see some gay shit. I've heard enough. I want some gay.
got Yasuke here, and this is so gay.
You'll never escape the nightmare of your own design, unfortunately. The self-inflicted nightmare. I don't want to see gay. I don't want to see it. I hate it. I hate gay so much. Let's all watch a gay scene together.
Yikes. It's so gay. I don't know why this is potato quality right now, but
I'm sorry, what was particularly gay? I thought you were gonna show like some actual dudes making out, or maybe even some light fingering. All this was what, two people putting their heads near to each other? That's okay.
it's fine. I would rather see this in potato quality than the actual crisp technology. So we have Kongmin here who says, Blackman, is this a representation you wanted? Are you happy that the legendary...
Weird thing to say. Black man, what do you think of this? They have cucked you too. You're now gay.
It's a made-up concept and not even real. Did not exist back then, but they had to insert that into that.
I love when this argument gets brought up too. For anyone, spoiler warning for Assassin's Creed 2. If you haven't played Assassin's Creed 2, I'm going to show you one of the final battles in Assassin's Creed 2. Remember, they really want historical accuracy here, so here is you having to kill the Pope, who emanates magical light beams from his body, just like in real history. It was a real thing that happened. And here we go. You got a battle. Oh no! He's got the magical light beams. Ah, I hate how all the popes have this power. I mean, the modern popes don't show it off as much, but like they used to be able to do this shit. Look at this. Look what they could do. It was crazy. They just hold up this massive scepter. Yeah, say a couple words. And,
now give it here.
That's how you say go fuck yourself in Italian. Fucking, this goes hard.
Always the fighter, just like your father. Well, rejoice, my child, for you will see him again soon. You will give it to me, as you wish.
Whoa. Just like real history. That's true. That is what happened.
An impressive power, this. But if you think it's going to save you, you've another thing coming.
So as you can see, while occasionally being based in real time periods that took place in human history, Assassin's Creed, the series, has for a long time played fast and loose with actual history. And in this case, they actually went a little bit further and wanted to make it more historically accurate, while at the same time allowing people with the, I would say, medium of video games to experience things that never actually took place, including potentially romantic relationships between same-sex partners. But you don't have to do that. Again, this is all a nightmare of your own design. You do not have to play the gay. And there's no amount of like all of the clips and sequences and can you believe they put this in the game?
Off's portrayal of Yasuke as a samurai is being promoted as if it were historically factual. This was from
the Pope had a mouth. That's gay. That's true. That is by definition, I guess, gay, because just everything is gay now. Two people just like we touched helmets. Gay.
Well,
Havelina, thank you for the $5. I can smell the wine on her breath through the video. Could be. I have no idea. I don't know if that is a part of the show.
especially games that have like sex scenes in it. I don't know how graphic that gets in this, so I don't know if they have full-on sex scenes, but still, I'm not buying gay games. I don't buy games with gay romance crap in it like this, like with gay love scenes in it. I'm not doing that. I'm not.
Cool story. Well, then you don't have to make videos anymore, I would assume, because you can choose not to have to experience this ever again. Again, it's all a nightmare of your own design. The non-binary samurai game no one wanted.
Wanted to play a video game where the protagonist is a black Japanese samurai who has gay love affairs with non-binary characters. Well, if you have, then Assassin's Creed Shadows might just be the game for you.
Sounds awesome.
So So one of the most anticipated games of the year just came out, and gamers of the world simply are not happy. Apparently, Assassin's Creed Shadows is just not good, and it kind of ties into what we were talking about.
With the exception of one other title, it has broken the sales records for the entire series. The largest amount of players simultaneously playing the game on Steam for any title that the company, Ubisoft, has ever made. Okay, the reviews for the game are all positive overwhelmingly. I mean, there are some negative reviews, but if you look at the Metacritic reviews, it's still positive. By which metric? Made a lot of money, a lot of people playing it. The people who review video games said it was good.
In regards to Snow White just at the beginning of the week, because it seems like there are
But see, this is a different property. This is a different genre. It's a different medium, in fact. This is a movie. And in this one, a lot of the anti-woke crowd feel they got a huge victory. They're like, we did it, comrades. We took down the children's live-action film, and we destroyed the woke. And then it's like, I think this film probably failed independently of your online meltdowns.
It's this whole mess of people being upset, but this does beg a broader question of where is the gaming industry actually going, and is it too far gone for most gamers? Now, before we dive into this story, I want to remind you all that I am going on tour this spring. It is my first tour ever. I am protagonists, a black Japanese samurai, Yasuke, and a female shinobi, or a Japanese spy, named Nawe. And like I said, the trailer came out last May, and even last May, in 2024, it made an insane splash, because people were obviously confused about a black samurai leading a
See, when you keep saying people, you keep acting like it's a generalization that the majority of people feel this way, and it's really just a lot of weirdos online, the culture warriors, who do this for a living and just want everyone to be as miserable and racist and strange as they are. That's all it is. You can see this in the effect that this game had once it was released, and numerous people were dropping into other people's streams. There's that cowboy guy who just like fully called out chatters who were just dropping into streams to be like, aren't you upset about the fact that this is disrespectful because there's a black guy in feudal Japan? And he was just like, get the fuck out of here. Genuinely, take your race shit and take it somewhere else, because it's just so gross. No one wants to be as miserable as you are. I loved Northern Lion's rant about this, where he was just like, in my day, trolls used to troll. They used to be little goblins that lived under bridges, and they would pop in knowing they were trolls. They know their place. They would troll you or try to troll you for a little while, and then after they realized that you were onto them, they would be like, ha, keck, and then they would accept their ban, and that was the deal, and that's just what it was. Nowadays, they just drop into all these different chats, and they just want everyone to agree and be as weird and transphobic and racist as they are, and if you don't, they just get so upset. Like, I'm being banned for my speech. It's like, no, you're being banned for being a racist weirdo. Why are you obsessing? Go outside, Jesus Christ. If you don't like this game because you don't like black people, or you don't like this game because you don't like gay people, go do something else. Let people who are normal and enjoy games that may feature things that they are not to enjoy them. All there is to it. Very easy. I don't spend all day trying to cancel all of fucking Christian cinema. What a waste of my life that would be. Just every day, all right, guys, another movie is coming out. It's called Christ Our Lord 2. Apparently, they want you to believe in the divine prophecy of Jesus. Except we all know that never happened. What? Like, if I did that all day, every single day, wouldn't someone eventually be like, you don't have to watch that movie, though. Like, you don't have to watch any of the Christian cinema genre if it doesn't do anything for you. Oh, shit. That's an option? Fun. Oh, neat. Okay, easy.
Video game that is set in feudal Japan. However, at the time, Ubisoft confirmed that Yasuke was a real historical figure, so they weren't just pulling this out of their ass, although, when you actually look at his history, the time that this man spent in Japan as a samurai and his actual history is very, very murky. There is a book written about him, but again, we just don't really know a lot about him. So because of all of this, last year people were very quick to call out Ubisoft for political pandering, for just trying to dig up and...
Oh, no. So, like, I'll be the first to admit, I did not know a lot about Yasuke when this game was first announced, and I was not one of the people who, when it was announced, immediately was like, oh, this is definitely an insult to Japanese people, Japanese culture, because that would be a strange thing to say about something I didn't know a lot about. So then I did that thing where I wanted to learn a little bit more and then read up on Yatsuke. And it was fascinating, a part of history that I wish I had known more about. And it's actually an incredible story, and one in which, once you do learn about it, you're like, I can't believe that this hasn't been done in more renditions. Oh wait, probably because people like you melt the fuck down. That could be it. Could you imagine, like, every other day it's like, hey, a new HBO show has been announced. It's going to be the saga of Yatsuke, previously a slave who had, risen to the highest levels in feudal Japan to become a samurai. For like, already I can see 10,000 of these videos getting produced overnight. This is disrespectful. How dare you? I'm not a Japanese person unless I pretend to be one online on my alternate account, but they are most definitely upset. I imagine. They've got to be, because they're putting a black person in feudal Japan.
Search for a black character in order to basically check off a diversity box for this game, which is ridiculous because they would basically be checking off every single box in the book if they had just focused on creating actual Japanese characters. And of course, it didn't help that amidst all of
They did. There's one character who's not Japanese in the game. One. Literally one. Would there be a problem if they did Last? Of course there would not be a problem if they did The Last Samurai. Are you kidding me? Come on. Come on. No, we already know the answer to that. They would not. They would bend over backwards. They would be the same history revisionists they're being now, just in the opposite direction, to be like, well, actually, while it is not completely 100% confirmed, there is a bunch of tales, they are stories of lore, if you will, but they do describe how a lot of British people, due to their influence and the fact that the Japanese at that moment in history were trying to, again, take a lot of British culture and use it to influence their own, that there was people who may have, moved over from Britain to become samurais, and they may have risen the ranks, and they may have become, white shogun, super assassins, and they may have probably won some wars on the behalf of the Japanese in like what you might describe as a savior kind of a situation, where you could even have a scene in, say, the movie where like literally an entire army dies, like everyone dies. It's just like, they get mowed down by one of those like machine guns or something. Every single Japanese person dies, but the only person who lives miraculously, almost as if they were, again, a savior figure, would be the white guy, something like that. And then you sit there in the theater being like, that's odd. Again, literally everyone dies except for the white dude. Oh, he's got to tell the tale. He's got to be able to tell the story. Of course. You got to make sure that he lives so he can tell the story. Got it.
This anger and chaos over the Black Samurai, the developers were simultaneously hinting at something else, which actually at the time, back in May, the anti-woke warriors didn't really sniff out yet, considering that the coverage was completely left-wing. And I know this thanks to Ground News. And my partners over at
Slick. Hey, credit where credit's due. You are better at that than a lot of your contemporaries, all right? I didn't even pick up on it for the first 2 seconds. Other people, it's very obvious from the get-go. I mean, when it's Matt Walsh, he just like literally goes like this. It's like, do you like gold? Do you have money in savings? Do you like steak? Do you want gold steak? I 20% off gold steak. Matt Walsh gold steak. Colonoscopy.com. Gold. Like this is a little bit more slick.
you, Patrice Cullors, or whatever the heck your name is. I'm trying to, eliminate you from my brain. But guys, amidst George Floyd and the race riot.
Oh, damn, we got Steve Boots and OT. The two of you should say hello.
And, white people crying in the streets because they hated the color of their skin, all of us being told that Black Americans were the most oppressed individuals in the entire world, this game was created. So, of course, at that time in history, Ubisoft was going to be clamoring for some kind of—
Sorry, what? No? No one was saying that. That wasn't even one of the things that the Black Lives Matter movement was saying. Just reflecting upon the very real reality that, there's a disproportionate amount of people who are Black in America who experience police violence. That's I'm sorry, that's just maths. It's not exactly, well, it sounds like you are race baiting. Oh, we're supposed to believe that they're the most oppressed people that ever existed in human history. Excuse me, white people have been enslaved as well. It's like, no one's saying that. Again, yeah. So if your house is on fire and then you were like, hey, can you put the fire out? And then I was like, oh, excuse me. Hey, all houses matter. How dare you? Hey, I have a house too, all right? Your house is not the only house that matters. I know, but it's on fire. It would be nice if you could put the fire out because that night. Don't be a bigot. All houses matter. Every one. Even white houses.
way to capture the moment and show that they were an ally. But you know, video games, they take a long time to create, and 5 years later, the culture has radically changed. The moment is long gone. BLM has lost its power, and Ubisoft is now suffering the consequences. But this whole situation is
But what, breaking all these records? I mean, a fucking massively profitable selling title. I don't get how they lost this. I don't like, why do a victory lap on something that all of you were so decidedly wrong on? Like, the vast majority of people just played it anyway. I know there was so much controversy and it was really, really hard. And even streamers were kind of like, I don't know what I want to do as I play this game. And everyone's going to be dropping in the chat being like, oh, well, come on. Don't you know this is racist?
about so much more than just the grifting. Because when I asked Kata, who is now my new resident Assassin's Creed expert, about the game and how he's feeling after playing it for the last week, the first thing he said was not the DEI or I can't believe I'm playing as a black samurai. It was actually about the quality of the game itself. This is what he said.
It is not a very good game. Like, there's bugs out of the ass on it. There's glitches in it where it's not.
And then why wouldn't you lead with this, Brett? You just, like, this is already almost half done, this video, and this entire thing has been like, and we have to admit that, come on, they started doing this because they were trying to virtue signal and get woke points by doing a game based on a black samurai because the Black Lives Matter movement about 5 years ago was really popular, and that's why they did it, and that's the only reason why they would ever want to tell the story, and then the game came out, and now they're getting destroyed in the sense that they are actually selling out terribly, but again, they've been owned. Like, I have no problem with people who want to criticize video games for being really, really glitchy, getting delayed a lot, or even better, if you start talking about how exploitative the gaming companies are and how they treat their employees like shit and how they make them be contract workers, how they make them do the crunch, how a lot of these predatory AAA game companies are constantly doing loot boxes and gambling mechanics and free-to-play in order to be able to addict people and get them to spend more money, how it's destroying the entire industry. Awesome. Yes, that's all the stuff we should be criticizing. Not this game is bad because it has a black person in it. Not this game is bad because it has a gay storyline. Because that's exactly what we're doing. Let's get to the game.
People have noticed. From writers at Forbes that said Assassin's Creed Shadows has a Yasuke problem, calling him a puzzle piece that just doesn't quite fit, to actual players online saying things like, it's decent, but it has some issues. Yasuke is essentially an afterthought, pointless being him when he isn't an assassin. The more you play it, the more you wonder why. There is no point to his character in the game. Another person said, I am really convinced that Yasuke is an actual token, because at best, he really doesn't add much to the story. He's really just there, and if Nawe was the sole protagonist, nothing in the story would really change. Many have this sentiment. So why even bother making him an MC? Boom. That is what happens when you are message first, story last. It doesn't work. He seems like a token. He seems like an afterthought because the only thought that Ubisoft has was, I know we told people we would have a Japanese Assassin's Creed, but also BLM, it's 2020. We need to have a black guy. And he
But again, you can't have it both ways. You can't do both things. You got to pick a lane. Either the game was an abject failure. It wasn't. Okay, so the game was super successful. It was. All right. Some people didn't like it. Of course. There's literally millions of people who bought it. They sold millions and millions of copies. There's going to be a lot of people who don't like it. Ubisoft, by the way, is notorious for having day one release games that are glitchy as fuck. There's a fair criticism. There's something you could levy. There's something where it's like, hey, by the way, maybe instead of making all your employees have to like meet these brutal deadlines in order to have a release date, and then the game is a little bit unpolished, and then it doesn't matter. We got to get that game fucking out. There's something to talk about. Not to just be like, but they did it because they were trying to virtue signal and get woke points.
might have become even more of an afterthought, even more of a token, if they did actually.
No, she's not a gamer, but she is a very effective propagandist, and she is very, very good at getting people upset and making it sound as if this is a fact-based discussion, right? If you interweave it, say, hey, by the way, I'm going to bring on another person. They're going to talk about how they didn't like the game. They happen to be a gamer who's played through the game, and then she's going to be like, so I'm not actually a gamer myself, but hey, look at these reviews. Random people on Twitter are kind of upset, and we got to talk about how it's just complete and utter failure, from start to finish. The whole thing was a failure. We still haven't talked about the gay, though.
In a weird gray area of like, we don't actually know if they were a samurai. Doesn't really sound like they were. So instead, you just made a mockery of an entire region and point in history. I don't really think that was your goal, but you missed an entire opportunity to celebrate a culture, and instead you avoided it and kind of mocked it altogether. And of course, I'm literally getting out of breath at this point, but it does not help that on top of all of that, they left in all of the gay storylines that they promised last year, which just makes the entire situation and storyline weirder, and this was Kata's take after playing through all of that.
From what I gather, I think Yasuke has like 3 where he could be gay. Nawe has, I think, like 2 or 3. What makes it worse is the fact that Yasuke, whatever you feel about his history, he was a real guy. So put them into a game and then implying that, you know, I wouldn't want nobody to put me in a game 500 years from now and they say, oh yeah, Kata liked to sleep with dudes. It's like, no, I didn't. Don't do that.
And no, my friends, it is not just Kata pointing this out. It's not just one player here or there that is sniffing out these storylines. Publications like Pink News are blasting these wins for the queer gaming community far and wide. This was an article that came out just last week. They said, you can have hot gay samurai flings in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ubisoft. That is just excellent. That is what we all want out of a
Sorry, wait, what? You can't use that article as like, hey, and even Pink News is calling this out. Pink News is like, cool, you have options. You can choose to do this. And just like that person said earlier, you can choose. You have multiple storylines where you could choose to have gay romantic plot lines, side quests. And if you don't have to do them. Your choice. Power to the player.
Assassin's Creed, just clunky, half-baked, gay, and disliked. That is what you have created. I hate to say it, but again, this is what happens.
But no, that's you. This is all your opinion. But this is why I'm saying she's very crafty. And I don't know if it's her producer or just like the way they do this, but it does kind of feel as if she's building a general consensus, right? When you see the way she presents this and she even brings up alternative sources, and you can't say that Pink News in any way, shape, or form is like a right-wing source, but even look, they were celebrating this in the way that they shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, everyone is mad. They're all so mad about this. And you're like, you're bringing up an article that was celebrating the fact that you could have gay romantic storylines. If you wanted to, you can choose to. And also, again, this game was a fucking bestseller. So what are we doing?
When you chase brownie points and not quality. Now, of course, if we were going to have this conversation about Assassin's Creed, we obviously have to, take a step back, take a bird's eye view, and take a look at the entire gaming industry, because this is not just happening with Assassin's Creed. This is far from being an isolated incident. And in general, the gaming industry has changed dramatically over the last decade or two. And I think one thing that really stands out about all of that is how commercialized it has gotten. I mean, it went from being this more artistic, niche, independent industry into a $200 billion
What are you talking about? You are decades late to this conversation. Are you talking about the days of Atari? Because, yeah, there was a time when coders and computer programmers were making video games, and they were the sole creators of the games. They would have to think of the plot, make the graphics, do the coding. Some of them even had to do the sound effects. And as the technology became bigger and better, and as the industry grew and became a powerhouse, a titan, by the way, then bigger staff were required to make these games. And that has been scaling up more and more. And I would say to its detriment. But Jesus Christ. We also have to talk about this. I don't know if you know this, but the gaming industry is actually kind of successful now. And it requires more than one person to make a game. And sometimes two or more people. It's wild. I know. I just found this out.
Industry in 2025. And amidst all of that, you have these high-quality developers and independent companies that are getting bought up, and the world just became far more corporate, and they chose to focus on
Yeah, good job. So you're describing capitalism. Your issue here is with capitalism. Yeah, it's not with black people being in video games. But you were so fast. She's going to do it right now. I paused it right before, but she went from that. It's like, we got to talk about how this kind of sucks, and that there are all these little companies that were making independent games, but then they got bought up by these giant conglomerates that then consumed those smaller companies, and they basically, enveloped them. That's really bad. But in the middle of all of that, you had to go and make a,
mass appeal, aka leaning into culture wars and trying to be as woke as possible. And a perfect example of how this all transpired is Ubisoft. I mean, in 2022, they released their annual sustainability report where they promised to embed DEI in every single one of their creative processes. So if you've been playing Ubisoft games over the last couple of years going, what has changed, my friends, I am about to show you. And yes, before you ask, this was put into place by their Chief Diversity, Inclusion, Accessibility, and Social Impact Officer at Ubisoft. And her name is Rashi Sika, who was hired in 2020. Interesting timing for the development of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Here she is, this is Rashi, and according to this article that was published around the time she was hired, her role would be to implement more diverse and inclusive strategies and initiatives across all aspects of operations and business. And let me tell you, my friends, by 2022, she had certainly done that. By the time that sustainability report
Wait. So are you going to tell me that because of her actions, there was a whole bunch of people who were in different groups that suddenly got hired to upper management? Was there suddenly a lot of black people who were working at the top levels at Ubisoft? Is that what happened? Is that the bad thing?
came out, she had implemented and publicized all of these strategies, which in turn impacted all gamers, especially the lovers of Assassin's Creed. Now, in this report, she wrote, "We will create gaming experiences that push representation forward by embedding diversity and inclusion across all of our processes, increasing representation in our..."
Oh, she's definitely way better at this than Melonie Mac. Like, if you want to juxtapose the two, right? So we had Melonie Mac earlier, who is also, like, you know, a pretty anti-LGBTQ plus homophobe, who just wanted to make a video about how she hates gay people and doesn't want to see gay people. And that was the crux of her entire thing. She started by being like, I just don't want to see them. I don't want to see them. I hate seeing gay. And then she's like, look at the scene. It's so gay. Oh, I can't believe I'm forcing myself to watch this stuff, to talk about it. This is a lot more crafty, right? Like, this is actually more insidious. It's going to have a way stronger effect because people can watch this video. It doesn't seem inherently bigoted, just like on its surface, right? It doesn't seem like this is someone who, like a lot of the other people, the geeks and gamers, or even the fucking the Asmon goals of the internet, they're a lot more crude. They're going to sit there and basically be like, yeah, apparently we're all supposed to just like this game because if you don't, you're a racist. But I'm just going to say that this is not a real historical figure. We all know that. This is called virtue signaling because of the woke agenda, DEI, bridge, CRT. That's what's happening. Well, that's not how this is being laid out. This is like, hey, by the way, I just want to tell you about this. It's a controversy. Now, I'm just going to come right out the gates and say that I don't actually hate video games, even though I don't play a lot of them, but I am going to talk about this topic, and I'm going to bring up a lot of different sources and talk about this and kind of tell and craft a narrative that everyone is pissed off in the same way I want you to be. Everyone is. Like, I know it might not be true. I know that this game actually might have been a bestseller. I know it might have broken some records. I know that a lot of people have actually really enjoyed it, but I'm going to make it feel like this narrative that I'm developing right now is actually 100% true. And as you end and start this video, you might not have known that you were watching a video that is actually homophobic. You might not have known that you were watching a video that's actually racist. But again, it's a lot harder to levy those charges because it's like, I was very, very clear that this had nothing to do with race. I don't care about that. I don't see color. That's not the point. I think that this is unfair. In fact, I think this is racist towards Japanese people. I think this is racist towards Japanese culture. Why couldn't they have made a game that features Japanese characters in a game set in feudal Japan? And then if you're like, well, they kind of did. I mean, literally every single character except for one is Japanese in the game. But yeah. So wait, what are we mad at again?
Games and offering access to resources that help build teams to build more authentic, inclusive, and accessible gaming experiences. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that exactly what you want?
And this is also one of the reasons why Brett Cooper is so popular. It's one of the reasons why I don't know what the behind the scenes situation was with her and Jeremy Boring, that she was originally supposed to be in the super high budget series with Jeremy Boring, which was basically going to be like the right wing Game of Thrones, the Pendragon cycle, which they'd already been like deep into production on. I don't know if that'll ever see the light of day. We'll see. Jeremy Boring is fucking, crashing and burning, as is the Daily Wire right now. So I don't know what happened there. She was also supposed to be Snow White in the upcoming Daily Wire Snow White movie. That one I think is also on permanent hiatus or will never see the light of day. And they basically over at the Daily Wire replaced her with just a clone who happened to be her best friend, who just basically tried to look and sound and talk like her. Also profoundly strange they did that. But she's now independent, doing her own thing, and is doing numbers. And I think it's important to analyze and understand why. Like, I was first talking about this when it happened to be about the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni situation, and her and Candace Owens really, really good at just fucking pumping numbers on the backs of very, very popular general pop culture critique. And in this case, this one's obviously not her lane. She's not known for, going on video game discussions or topics frequently. But once again, this is a well-polished, well-crafted video, even if it is, hateful and bigoted. And at the core, it doesn't feel like that. It's like you could, if your daughter was watching this, you wouldn't just watch 2 seconds of the video and be like, oh, whoa, no, she's like a hateful, this is just a Nazi. You wouldn't get that. You'd be like, oh, no, she's just really passionate and cares about this and actually cares about, proper representation, not forced representation. She says that all the time. She wants not forced diversity. And that's the problem with a lot of the things that she brings up, like DEI. And that's why we all have to oppose these programs. And that ultimately, this is not at all because it's based in racism. This is 100% because there's just someone who's talking about culture.
And I'm reading this and I'm like, wow, that must be why you picked a black samurai. And I'm sure that Yasuke is this woman's crowning joy. So guys, if you want to know why Shadows has a black samurai, why it has gay love stories and non-binary characters and a strong female lead that kind of comes out of nowhere when Yasuke was supposed to be the protagonist, now you have your answer. And all of this is just so funny to me because...
Wait, sorry, isn't that good? Isn't that what you wanted? A Japanese woman who is a character suddenly becomes the protagonist of the story. She becomes the lead. Well, I know, but then that's girl bossing, which is feminism, which is also bad. So that's bad too. Everything's bad.
In our interview, Kato was talking about how the entire gaming industry has just become overrun by women in the LGBTQ community, and I laughed when he said that, but holy crap, as I dove in, as I did my research for this episode, let me tell you, he was not wrong.
All these writers are like, no disrespect, a bunch of white women that don't really know anything, and they're trying to virtue to other people because they don't have anything else going on in their lives. Oh, we got a bunch of gay people in here that only want to talk about being gay and nothing else. You look at the games and the people behind it, it's like, oh, all these people are about, the puberty blockers. They're all about the, social justice stuff. Wow, they hate Trump. And then you start noticing the pattern.
I mean, guys, in Electronic Arts' 2023 report, where they basically survey the entire gaming industry, they cited a 30% increase in women in leadership roles across the entire gaming industry between...
Oh, that's so bad to hear. How dare they? I'm trying to find data right now on like what is the actual percentage. So Forbes, the current landscape. Forging into the gaming industry can be a difficult process for women. Unfortunately, gender bias, a lack of diversity, and the objectification of women are still discouraging too many from progressing in gaming. Some might describe the experience analogous to competing in a multiplayer first-person shooter game, putting up a good fight to protect yourself from a constant attack. Ironically, female gamers are more prevalent than ever. According to recent statistics, women represent half of all gamers globally. The latest stats segment that the video game industry has 61% men and 30% women. I mean, that's still better than it used to be, but in no way, shape, or form is that demonstrable that women are running the entire industry now. I'm sorry, it's just not the reality. I'm gonna guess if I looked up how much LGBTQ plus representation is in the industry, it's better than it used to be. There's probably more. It probably went from somewhere like 5% to 12% in that kind of a window. But are they dominating the entire industry and forcing everyone to deal with the gay? Are they sitting there being like, well, this game doesn't have a gay storyline. We got to put that in there. Well, I mean, the game's almost done. I mean, everyone can go home. They don't have to work for us anymore. I know, but gay. You're right. Got to do it. No choice. I mean, the gay has spoken. The game needs more gay. It's got to have at least 20% more gay now. There's also increased representation of iconic, brave, and determined women characters in AAA titles and indie games, boosting the depiction of women in today's gaming environments, from Lara Croft to Valkyrie Profile to World of Warcraft to Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy. Female characters are serving as positive role models for women. As someone who's played a lot of these games, I might dive a little bit deeper into that, but either way. Over the past decade, we've made progress with more women leaders in gaming development, publishing, and management as serving as leading characters and examples. However, while some of the gender gaps are closing, one statistic that needs to evolve is the number of women experiencing abuse in games, with 75% of women still reporting levels of harassment playing online and 59% hiding their gender while playing games to avoid it altogether. So, I mean, look, if there was an overwhelming amount of women, which it's not, it's 30%, but if there was an overwhelming amount of women who were working in the video game industry, that's not a bad thing. Like, you got to remember that half of the games now are played by women. Women make up half of all video game players. And so as a result of that, and I don't want to hear the whole, yeah, but they play mobile games, it doesn't count. Like, just grow up. That there should be more representation. There should be more women working on video games, and there should be more women part of these projects. The bigger problem, which he touches for like maybe 6 seconds of this video and then just drops it, is the way these structured corporations work under capitalism to exploit their workers, treat them like shit, and produce vast amounts of profit along the way. That's the issue. That's the core component of all of this. If you don't want to see gay people in a movie, you do not have to watch that movie. You can pick a movie that does not have gay people. If you do not want to play as a video game where you play as a gay character, in this one, you just don't have to do that storyline, or you can pick a different game. This may shock you. The overwhelming majority of protagonists in video games are straight men. Overwhelming. You have nothing but options there. If you're someone who wants to play a game as a straight dude, I got good news. It's a glorious time for you. You get to have a lot of options.
In the years of 2020 and 2023. Like, I love you women, I am one of you, I support you, but I'm really not sure you are helping the gaming industry. Now, in addition to just women, they also took
I love you, I support you. Fucking get the fuck out. Jay, thank you for the $5. Women used to publish under male aliases to avoid gender biases. The original Street Fighter games are a classic example. What? I just learned something. I didn't know that. Street Fighter games, women change their names.
look at the underrepresented talent category in general, which they increased by 46%, which is just insane. That is a huge number. EA also launched their Diversity in Gaming Fund, where they invested $10 million into underrepresented developers, and they are actively tracking the percentage of games with non-male, non-straight protagonists. I mean, guys, this is literally like the Oscars diversity quotas all over again, where I don't know if you guys know this, but if you want to be nominated for an Academy Award, for an Oscar, your film has to check certain boxes. They are literally surveying the industry. Sorry, too many white guys. Oh, you didn't have a female or a gay person as a lead. Oh, you can't. That is literally what they are doing now to the gaming industry. And all
It's just not true. Also, this was such a striking problem when it came to film, in that the majority of the films that are nominated for Oscars are directed by white people, are starring white people, are centered around white stories, that there was an actual backlash to it called #OscarsSoWhite, where that one year I think there was like barely any people of color who were nominated for the Oscars, and then like the next year they're like, okay, don't worry, we got you. We're gonna have at least 1 or 2 nominees this year that happen to be black people, and then hey, if you wait long enough and you know it happens to be Martin Scorsese film, you might even get the very first Indigenous woman nominated for an Academy Award. She won't win, don't worry. I mean, come on, this stuff takes time, but you will get the first Indigenous woman ever nominated for Best Actor. So that is a thing. You get ready for that. Enjoy. It's gonna happen.
this isn't just internal. It is also being driven by a huge cohort of consultants that these companies are bringing in, most notably, or notoriously, whichever way you look at it, a Canadian company called Sweet Baby Inc. And guys, they do not hide what their goal is. In fact, when you Google Sweet Baby Inc., this is literally how Google AI describes them. Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative development and consulting firm that works with video game companies to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion within game narratives and studios, but has faced criticism for allegedly pushing a woke agenda. Yeah, that is literally what they are doing. They are pushing DEI 24/7. That is the basis of their company. I wouldn't say that that is alleged, but Google AI goes on, and here's their more detailed breakdown. What they do.
So we use Google AI now, like, just as a source in our videos. When did this happen? According to Google AI. All right. I don't know. Sometimes when I type things in the Google AI, it tells me I should eat rocks. Like, I don't know if that's actually a good source on anything, but okay. When it comes to Sweet Baby Inc., by the way, the small little company, any of the things that Sweet Baby Inc. did were suggestions. So it was a consultant company that video game companies that, again, if they were talking about sensitive topics, wanted to be sure that maybe they were approaching these topics with some degree of care, such as, hey, by the way, we're going to be talking about this Indigenous story. Should we consult with Indigenous, elders or someone else to talk about this and this narrative? Maybe we should find the best way to go down that pathway. Guess what? There's a company that facilitates this. So you can go to Sweet Baby Inc. and then they can see the project you're working on. They can make recommendations. They can also recommend that you consult with the following people. For example, are you writing a game that has a lot of black characters, but not a single person on your writing staff happens to be black? That's going to be a little strange. You should probably look into that. Stuff like that. That was the whole point. And then Sweet Baby basically became the smoking gun for all of these fucking culture warrior weirdos to be like, we told you, we proved it, the woke mind virus factory lab has been discovered, it's Sweet Baby Inc. It's the, look at all the people, we'll put them on blast. And yeah, they ruined the lives of a lot of the people who worked there, who were a lot of women, non-binary people, and people of color as well, who were working for Sweet Baby Inc., who were again being hired by these companies to try and consult. It was a consulting agency that would consult on the games to be able to talk to them and tell them, yeah, maybe you should do X or Y. The games were never forced, because they don't have the power to do that. That's not why you would ever hire a consulting firm. You don't hire a consulting firm and they become the project managers on the spot. Like, that's the thing that everyone is being sold to push the woke agenda. It's basically like, hey, here's a sample of the project, or here's how long the project is coming, or here's the concept of the project. What do you guys think? Do you think this is going to be culturally sensitive if we do X or Y? And then they can give you their feedback, and then you can work on that and develop it as you see fit. You get to choose again. Impetus ×2. Thank you. What's next? She wants a diva rant on VTubers. Don't get me started on VTubers.
Don't let this happen to you. Go to serfscoffee.com to order the only end-to-end owned indigenous coffee company that delivers blood-free, conflict-free, and cruelty-free beans right to your door. 0% of people who drink serfscoffee.com have exploded spontaneously. By ordering right now, you get 10% off plus free shipping, and it's the best way to enjoy delicious coffee while not exploding. That's serfscoffee.com, serfscoffee.com.
Hey, if you'd like to unlock secret bonus episodes as well as uncensored content, go to patreon.com/theserfs. This show is produced by Anna Loves Riley, Arian McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Salim, Jimmy Sombrero, Voltimondi, Omni, Political Poppy, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demel, Travis McClinton, Trincel, Words Greenwood, with additional support coming from all of these amazing human beings right here.